Right, perfect. Right, so today's session is really interesting, right? And this is something that is often a pain point for a lot of sellers, especially with how Amazon has developed over the last couple of years. The biggest pain point is we go in, we pick a product, we launch it on Amazon, and then we realize the PPC is too expensive. And that has been a problem with a lot of launches over the last couple of years, and something that sellers have really struggled with. So today's session, we're going to really drill down on how you can actually figure out whether a PPC is really competitive in terms of whether a niche is really competitive in terms of PPC even before you've launched the product. So just the same way you check your margins, just the same way you check your search volumes and demands and keywords, you also get to check the PPC viability of that niche, whether you can go in and really perform with PPC, or are you going to go in, have a 90% ACOS, 100% ACOS, and you have a great product, but it's just that the costs of PPC are too competitive for the product to be successful. I'm going to share my screen and run you guys through a few really important pointers and some really key points on this. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, it's already
Right.
visible.
Perfect. I was planning to do an introduction, but I think you've done a really good introduction already. So I'll just skip right to the topic. The topic, as I've mentioned already, is avoiding high PPC competition launches on Amazon, or analyzing a niche on Amazon for low PPC competition. I mean, if you know how to pick a niche that has low PPC competition, you're also naturally going to start avoiding niches that have high PPC competition. Now, how do you do that? How do you actually go in and even before you've launched a product, really know that this is not a niche that I want to go in, launch a product, and bleed all my investment on? So there's three main questions that you need to ask over there. When you talk about how competitive a niche is in terms of PPC, you have to realize that PPC by itself is just you running ads. But PPC has a few goals, right? The main goal of PPC is for your listing or for your product to get organic visibility. Whether my product can, through great PPC performance, rank and rise to the top of those keywords that it is supposed to sell on. Now that is a major role that PPC has. So the three main questions that you want to be asking whenever you're referring to PPC competition in a niche. The first question is, how easily can my ranks move? Because if your ranks do not move quick, you will have to run the same PPC for 2 months instead of 1 month, just to get that same fifth organic rank, right? So how easily your ranks can move can really can really factor in against competition, right? So the first question is, how easily can my ranks move? The second question is, can I convert better than my competition? Because if you can convert better than your competition, you're naturally going to rank much quicker. Your ACOS is going to be lower. And that is, do my competitors leave enough gaps in their conversion rate strategy that I can utilize perhaps and go in and see if I could beat that? If your competitors have the conversion rate really sorted, their content is amazing, their images are amazing, their reviews are amazing, their ratings are amazing, it's naturally going to be more competitive for you because the conversion rate is so good. Just to topple them over, or just to win sales against them when you're all lying on the same ads, on the same keyword, is going to be really tough, right? So the second question is, can I convert better than my competition? Or better yet, is my competition leaving some gaps with conversion rates? And the third question is, can I run my Amazon ads profitably in terms of cost per clicks, right? So there's three main factors here. How quickly you can move in terms of ranking, so your ranking potential, your conversion rate, what difference can you create between you and your competition, and number three is the CPCs, right? These three things are going to factor in on your PPC performance. Now let's go, and before we jump in and we start understanding the five main factors, let's quickly understand, uh, when we talk about PPC competition, we naturally mean that we don't want to lose money on ads. We want to be profitable on our ads. So let's really understand ad sales profitability and total sales profitability, right? So how you can get your ad sales to be profitable, and what exactly goes behind your product being profitable. Now, ad sales profitability is obviously ACOS, right? The advertising cost of sales. Now, a very simple formula for ACOS is the number of clicks it takes for a listing to convert multiplied by the cost per click. So if a listing takes 8 clicks to convert and the cost per click is $1, it's going to take $8, right? Now you divide that by the selling price. It's let's say you're selling a $20 item, right? 8 clicks to convert into cost per click of $8. You divide that by the selling price, that is your ACOS, right? So this is not exactly is equal to, but this is mainly the factors that ACOS mainly depends on, right? So the number of clicks that it takes to convert and the cost per click is going to define what your ACOS is. Now, in terms of total sales profitability, right? Having a product being profitable, the actual formula here that we need to focus on is total ACOS, right? Total advertising cost of sales, right? So this was mainly the cost of sale that you have per unit sold through advertising. This is your cost of sale overall for all the sales that you make in the account, right? So obviously the main formula that a lot of people know is your total spend divided by your total orders, and that would include your PPC orders and your organic orders. And we need to really focus here on this fact, right? So you're incurring spend and you're bringing PPC orders, but the more organic orders that same spend and those PPC orders can bring, the lower your tacos is going to be, which means that your total advertising cost of sale is going to be much lower if you can bring more organic orders. Now, there's another formula that a lot of people are not familiar with, and that is your ACOS multiplied by your percentage of orders that come from PPC, right? So if I go in and let's say I have a 50% ACOS and all my orders come from PPC, then my tacos is going to be 50%, right? Because I do not have any organic orders. But let's say if I have a 50% ACOS, but so it's 50% because it's 50% into 100% PPC orders is equal to 50% tacos, right? So if I have a 50% ACOS, and let's say 50% of my orders come from PPC, my tacos should be 50% into half of that. 50% is equal to 25%, right? So this is a formula that a lot of people are not familiar with. But one formula for tacos is your ACOS multiplied by the percentage of orders that you bring from PPC. And the second formula is one that a lot of you are probably familiar with. That is your total spend divided by your total sales. And those total sales include PPC orders and organic orders. So, which means that if you're spending an XYZ amount and you're bringing an XYZ amount of PPC sales, if you're getting good ranks and your organic orders are going up, your tacos is going to be lower, right? So we take a quick example here. Let's say if I spend $100 a day to make $200 in ad sales, my ACOS will be 50%, right? But in terms of tacos, right? So this is just ACOS. Now we're going to talk about tacos. But if I have bad organic ranks, right? My organic ranks are not going up with the same PPC, and I only make $50 in organic sales per day, my total sales will be 200 plus 50 is equal to $250 at 40% tacos, and I might do a loss because I was spending $100 a day and I was selling in total $250 a day, and I have a 40% tacos. If my margin is 30%, I'm doing a 10% loss. However, if I have great organic ranks and I make $300 in organic sales by the same spend and the same ad sales, because they're bringing me organic ranks, they're bringing me organic sales, my total sales will be $500, right? So 200 plus 300. My tacos will be 20% and I will be making 10% profits. So what we see over here is that there's three things that matter over here. One is the conversion rate, second is the cost per click, and third is the ranks. Because if you're not getting great ranks with your PPC, that PPC at a total sales level, at your product level, it's going to be unprofitable. It's going to cost you money out of your pocket, and it's going to make your pocket bleed. So you want to launch a product that you can rank. And you want to launch a product that can rank. And when you say you want to rank a product, you want to have a product that can actually convert good enough, right? Because if it's not converting good enough, it's not going to rank. And then you also want to have a niche that has reasonable CPCs. It doesn't have crazy high CPCs, because if the CPCs are crazy high, you're going to have to pay a lot more for every single click. So we've really gone deep into understanding how these three factors define whether your niche will allow you to make profit. So we want to be picking a niche. We're not just looking at profits by doing, all right, so this is a product sells for $10, I can source it for $2, but it's also looking at the margin that I have. How much of it can I preserve after running ads? that is going to actually define your profitability on Amazon. So your profitability on Amazon is not $10 and let's say $7, let's say $5 going to Amazon and $2.5 cost of goods sold and $2.5 gross profit. This is not your actual profit that you're going to make on Amazon. Your actual profit is going to be this plus how much are you incurring in ad spend per sale, which is your tacos. So if you have a 15% tacos, which we discussed earlier, you're going to be doing $1.5 in spend per sale, which means that your actual profit is going to be $1. So you want to have a niche where this can be kept minimum and this can be kept the highest, and that can only happen if you have great organic ranks and you can convert really good. Someone has a message over here. Haknawaz says that he cannot hear. Is this a problem that only Haknawaz is facing? Or is this a problem that everyone is facing in the session? Right. Seems to be a problem at Haknawaz's end. Right, Haknawaz. I'm going to turn off the chat box and go back to the session. Right. So you want to have a niche. So if this is a niche that where it takes you with all your efforts, $2.5 in spend per sale, you're not going to make any profit, right? So you want to have a niche where you can actually make profit. So this is not your profit. This is your profit, and you want to have a niche where you can really maximize that, right? Where you can make as much profit, and you want to at least have 10 to 15% net profit even after your PPC. So we go a bit deeper into how can you pick a niche that will allow you to make profits in terms of ads, right? You can have a great conversion rate, CPC, and ranks. The factors to check, right? The first factor is what is the quality of listing images and EBC at the top in your niche? So I'm not going to go into a niche. I'm not a big fan of going into a niche and looking at what sort of content those sellers with no revenue have, right? I have absolutely no interest in taking a look at sellers that do not do any revenue. I want to be taking a look at what does the content in terms of its quality look like at the top of the niche, because that's who we're going to eventually have to compete with. If we're going to try and get those great organic ranks, you're not going to find low revenue, a lot of low revenue listings ranked at the top, right? Oftentimes, it's going to be the best products in that niche ranked at the top. So when you're going to try and get those organic ranks, because it's so important, you want to be in a niche, and you're analyzing the niche. You want to be analyzing the top of that niche, right? The top seller, the top 10, the top 5. So my question here is going to be, what is the quality of listing images and EBC at the top in the niche? Because if it's bad at the top, the content is really bad at the top, it will give me a chance to really widen that gap, create a big gap between me and my competition, right? If I go in and I have great content and everyone else has poor content, that means that I can, simply by having great content, really widen that conversion rate difference and even reduce the gap between me and them if they have a lot more reviews, right? So if they have more reviews, but the content is really bad and it's consistently bad across all top 5, top 10, or 8 out of top 10 have bad content, and I go in with great content, I can actually command a better conversion rate, a good conversion rate, despite them having good reviews, right? But if the reviews are high and the content is really good, then me just having great content is not going to create much of a difference between my conversion rate and them, right? They're going to be ahead of me because I have great content, but they have great content. They have thousands of reviews. I do not have thousands of reviews. So that's something that's really important to take a look at when you're launching a product. The bigger the difference, obviously, the better you rank, because on the same keyword, they have a 10% conversion rate, you have a 12% conversion rate, and the lower it costs you to rank. Because if you have a great conversion rate, you're going to rank quicker. You don't have to sell. If you're converting better than them, it might take you 10 days to rank at the top. But if your conversion rate is similar to them, it might take you 20 days. So you're going to have to take on that high percentage of PPC orders or that high tacos for a longer time until you get your ranks. But if your ranks can go up quick, your organic order percentage is going to go up, which means your tacos is going to go down with the PPC order percentage going down. So let's take a quick example at some listings that have poor quality content, listings that have average content or good content, right? So I have some content quality examples over here. So this is a listing which does $33,000 in revenue, but the content is just not that great. They just have a few images there. They do not describe features of the product. They do not go deep into the product's quality. It's just a stack of a few images. And then you go into the EVC. They just have the brand name mentioned there, trusted by the trades. They have simply copy pasted some of their bullets down there, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so they've copy pasted the bullets. So this is really poor content. Now, if you go in a niche where, let's say, out of top 10, 3 have content like this, and 5 have average content, and that is a niche that's going to be really good, because if you can go in and you can have great content like this brand against sellers with poor content, you're going to naturally come off as a much better listing to your customers. When they take a look at your listing, they're like, right, this is the listing that we want to buy from. They look high quality. This brand looks serious, right? This is an example of an average listing where the content is not poor, but it's not great. So if you're in a niche where the content is just average, it's really stuffed, and you take a look at the EBC, and the EBC is just about all right. It's not really that great. You could go into a niche like this as well, right? And you could still perhaps win. But if you're in a niche where, let's say, 7 out of top 10 sellers have content like this, and they have great content, and you will find a lot of these niches on Amazon where content is really great at the top. This is a niche that's going to be really hard to compete in, because you go in and you run great ads, you're going to have a hard time with your conversion rates, because everyone else is converting so good that simply by having great content, you're not going to beat the conversion rate. Your reviews are going to be lower and you're going to struggle. But let's say if the reviews are high, but the content is terrible, but you can have great content, you can actually get to their level and you can convert as good as them. So just a few quick examples of what great content looks like in a niche, what bad content looks like, and what average content looks like. So this is, if you have a niche where, let's say, 5 sellers have content like this, maybe 1 seller has great content and 3 have average content, you could go into that niche pretty confidently, right? Because a lot of you're going to have a content advantage against a lot of sellers in top 10. Yes, Umar, I think the session is being recorded. Right. So the first thing is obviously what is the quality of listing images and EBC at the top in the niche. Second factor that you want to take a look at is the constantly running video ad in your niche across keywords. So every now and then you will come across niches, and it doesn't happen too often, but it's a really great surprise element to take a look out for. If you end up being in a niche where, let's say, the video ad that is running in the niche at different times of the day is of a product that is not exactly the product that that keyword is selling, right? So let's say someone types something like perhaps we go in and we take this example, right? If someone is, let's say, uh, you're in a niche like car seat belt accessories, right? And you go in there, and the video that is running in that niche on like a car seat belt extension is an airplane seat belt extension, right? Or perhaps you're in a niche that sells garlic presses, but you go in there and there's a video ad running of a lemon squeezer. That is a really good sign that a lot of the competition in the niche is not that proactive with PPC. They're not that aggressive with PPC, because generally in competitive niches, you will never ever see a video ad that's not from that niche. So if you end up in a niche where, let's say, you're searching a garlic press and you see an ad for a lemon squeezer, which is a closely related product, but it's not exactly that product, that is a really good sign. So it happens very rarely, but every now and then, if you have 10 great products, you will often come across one out of 10 great products that has this quality, and that is an absolute green signal that this niche is not going to have that much competition in terms of PPC. Now, this is really important, point number 3, and this I picked from John Serafano, who's a really close friend of mine and has some great insights on Amazon ads. And this is, you want to take a look at the lower half of SERPs of the keywords in your niche, right? So SERPs are search engine result pages. If I go in here and I type garlic press, what we're seeing over here is an SERP. So this is a search engine result page. Now, what you want to be doing is that you want to take a look at SERPs for some of your keywords. And if you see that in like the second half of the SERP, you see some products that are not from that niche, but from some other niche. So let's say you're searching, let's say, football shoes, and you go down and you see basketball shoes, right? on like the second half of the SERP. And that generally doesn't happen at the top, but you'll see that in the second half of SERP, in some niches, especially in low competition niches, you will see 4 or 5 listings from another niche. So you'll see basketball shoes on football shoes. Now, that is such a green signal that this is a niche that you can go in and rank easily on. So this was obviously an indicator that sellers are not as proactive with PPC. So this is more of a PPC signal. This is a conversion rate signal. We studied the factors earlier: conversion rate, CPC, and ranks. So this is a conversion rate factor. This is CPC factor denotes that brands are not as proactive with the PPC. And if the video ad that's running there is from another niche, the sponsored product ads are also probably not going to be that expensive. But this is more of a ranking related factor. If your lower half SERP is populated with listings that, and just a few listings, like 4 or 5 listings that are not exactly from that niche, it means that for you to get to the first half of SERP is going to be super easy. Because if a product from another niche can rank in the second half, a product from that niche with good content, with great sourcing, with great images, is definitely going to be at least in the first half of page 1 with very little ads, right? So this is what you want to be taking a look at. Do you see products from other related semi-relevant niches showing or ranked there, right? So showing could mean that they have ads running there or they rank there. If they have ads running there, that means that the ad competition there is probably not that high, because in a competitive niche like garlic press, you're not going to see many ads from another niche because it's just so competitive. There's so many garlic presses that they're not going to give this ad spot to someone else, right? And they're not going to give away their rankings to someone else just because the competition is that tight. But if the competition is low, you get to see these gaps. So you'll either see ads running from another product in that niche, or you'll see products from another niche ranked in like the second half of page 1. And that's generally a really good sign that you can go in and really rank well in that niche and with relative ease. The fourth factor that you want to be taking a look at is there a presence of a sizable enough keyword ladder in your niche for root keywords? Now, what is the keyword ladder? I'll get to it in a second. Now, keyword ladder is basically how many extensions can you get from one keyword, right? So let's say, and by extensions, I do not mean 50 search volume, 100 search volume. I mean good search volume, like 700, 800, 900 search volume extensions, at least, right? So you want to have at least sizable search volume of those extensions. And by extensions, we mean long tails. So let's say that we're in a niche that where there's a root keyword and it has many long tails, versus a niche that does not have enough long tails for a root keyword. The problem with a niche that's not going to have enough long tails is that you'll have to rank those roots directly, and they're in. So let's take 2 examples, right? So there's one niche where 1 or 2 major roots have multiple long tails, right? So cable management box, and then there's large cable management box with good search volume, and cable management box for home with good search volume, and wooden cable management box with good search volume. Cable management box large, right? I put a comma accidentally over here. Cable management box large. Now I go in and I rank a couple of these keywords. They're naturally going to take my ranks up even without any PPC, at least to first half of page 1 or somewhere on page 1 on even cable management box. If I can really rank these in top 5, top 10. And if I rank 3 on top 10, it's probably going to take me to like the first half of page 1 for a keyword like this. And I go in and I rank large cable management box. It's going to go in and rank me on cable management box large, at least on page 1 or somewhere on first half of page 1, even if you're lucky. So a niche that has a sizable keyword ladder allows you to have that residual, that transferred ranking juice to its related long tail, its rearrangement, its other long tails. And then there's other keywords, cable, hydro box, and hydro box for cable. You rank one, it's going to rank the other one, at least on page 1 or first half of page 1. So that makes your life really easy, because by the time you rank a couple of keywords and you decide, right, so now I'm making some profits and I can use this budget to rank perhaps a few more keywords, those keywords are already ranked well. Let me, yeah, CVR conversion rate, exactly. Yeah, so with these niches, once you rank a few keywords, they take your ranks up on other keywords that you were planning to rank. And then once you have to rank, you don't have to rank a keyword from page 2 to page to top 10. You now have to rank a keyword from like middle of page 1, 25, 30 organic rank, 20 organic rank to top 10. And that just because you're so closer to top 10 on these other keywords that you were not even targeting. It's just your cost of ranking overall for that product over the long run just stays so much lower compared to a niche with a bad keyword ladder, right? Where at least one or two major root keywords do not have many long tails. So, for example, a niche that all these keywords define the same product, right? So, packing tape, moving tape, strapping tape, packaging tape. Now, if I rank moving tape, it's not going to help me much on packing tape. And if I rank strapping tape, it's not going to help me much on moving tape. And if I rank packaging tape, it's not going to rank me much on packing tape either, right? Very, very little transferred ranking use across the niche. But over here, I rank a couple of keywords. They're going to get cable management box, the most competitive keyword up. So over here, you're just in so much direct competition with that, with very little support. And then let's say there's a keyword like Scotch packing tape, where Scotch is a brand, and then there's the branded keyword. And I mean, this is not a long tail that you can go in and rank easily, right? Because people are searching it specifically for a certain brand. So the fourth factor that you want to take a look at is when you take a look at the keyword. So these three factors, you can just simply type any keyword from that niche. You can type 4 or 5 keywords from that niche, go in, take a look, just take a look around at some listings, take a look at the SERP, the
Yeah, I think Jeva is having an internet problem, so let me contact with her first.
yeah.
Kindly wait. Oh yeah, so there's
Can you get him? Yeah, I think the meeting dropped out for a second here. Right. So back at it. Yeah. So benefit of a keyword ladder, even outside just having an easier life trying to rank a product, is that even if you run exact right now to gain organic ranks, now exact generally helps a lot with ranking, but exact is also more competitive and there's higher CPCs on exact match, right? Just because you're just restricted on that keyword. So even if you run exact now to gain ranks and you get those ranks, if you have a niche that has a good keyword ladder, you can always use broad or phrase later at lower CPCs for maintenance of your organic rank. So you run exact to rank your keywords, but once you have ranked your keywords and they've been ranked for 3 or 4 weeks and your ranks are stable, you can always switch to broad and phrase later at low CPCs for maintenance, right? So let's say I go in and I rank all these keywords. Now I want to maintain them. I go in and I run a campaign broad match on large cable management box. It's going to help me maintain ranks on this and this. And then I run another broad match or phrase match campaign on cable management box and I negative the word large in phrase, right? So cable management box running a phrase match here is going to help me maintain ranks on this, and this keyword, right? So just by a couple of campaigns now, I'm maintaining ranks across 5 keywords. But if I go in, I'm going to need to have at least one campaign for each keyword, even just to maintain their ranks, right? So the cost of being able to maintain of being able to maintain your organic ranks is also much higher in a niche where the keyword ladder is bad. So you definitely want to be in a niche where there's a sizable enough keyword ladder. I often give this example. I'm not sure. A bit of a funny example here, right? So I'm not sure how many people here have ever watched MMA or something. But let's say you lock me and Khabib Nurmagomedov in a building with just 2 rooms, right? And someone's giving money to Khabib to beat me up. I'm going to have a really hard time hiding from Khabib just because I have 2 rooms, right? I mean, there's just 2 rooms in the whole building. But even with all the size difference or the strength difference that Khabib has on me, you lock me and Khabib in a building with 50 rooms. I get so much space to hide from Khabib that I could still perhaps find a room where I can be comfortable. So if you go in a niche where there's not enough keywords, you're going to really go in and have a hard time hiding from the top competition, right? But if you're in a niche where the competition is not really, even if the competition is high, but you have a lot of keywords, you can still go in and very comfortably hide from that competition across keywords. Please confirm if you guys can hear me perfectly fine, so I can move on to the next factor. All right, perfect. All right, so before we shift to like the next fifth factor, let me open a file that I'm going to use to So the fifth factor that we're going to discuss over here is, I'm going to share my screen back again. I have the file open with me. How many of you have been able to understand what we've gone through so far? All right, then I'll share my screen and I'll move forward. Right. So the fifth factor that you want to take a look at is, you want to run a reverse ASIN on your top 10 sellers in a niche. And what you want to be analyzing is the sponsored rank average, right? So this is slightly more technical, right? So this is 30% more technical than what we've discussed so far. But this is going to help you guys really understand if the PPC competition in your niche is low directly by looking at stats. That is, you want to see if you want to exactly predict how high the CPCs are, this is what's going to help you. This is the best way to understand if CPCs in your niche are high. Three factors that you want to analyze are sponsored rank average. So you're going to go in and run a reverse ASIN or Cerebro of your top 10 sellers, right? And you're going to stop with this with the revenue falls below 8,000. So if, let's say, after 6 sellers, the revenue falls below $8,000, you're going to stop at 6. So you don't necessarily have to do 10, but do 10 if everyone is above $8,000. If let's say after 6 or 7, it goes down to perhaps $6,000, just stop at 6, right? So the three factors that you want to analyze for these 10 sellers that you've selected, what's the sponsored rank average? So the sponsored rank is where their PPC is showing, what is the PPC rank, right? So let's say if we go on this SURP, this is sponsored rank 1, this is sponsored rank 2, 3, 4, right? And then I go down, this is sponsored rank 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So sponsored rank average is going to tell you what's the average of your top 10 sellers sponsored rank. And if that average is a really low number, so it's, let's say the sponsored rank average is 6, that means that all your competitors combined have a sponsored rank average that stands around here, which means the competition is really high. But if the sponsored rank average is 20 or something like that, that means that their PPC is showing really low, right? The average is really low. It means it's not that competitive. The second factor that you want to take a look at is sponsored rank count, right? So a sponsored rank count is going to tell you, out of those sellers that you selected, how many of them are even running PPC on that keyword. And then you want to take a look at individual ranks of the 3 to 5 toughest competitors there. Now, what filters do you want to be using? And I'm going to show you exactly how we go about that. Do not select any seller with less than $8,000 parent ASIN revenue. With the keywords, once you run the Cerebro, so this is before Cerebro, once you run the reverse ASIN or Cerebro in Helium 10, the search volume, you want to make sure that it's at least above 800, right? At least 800 search volume. The competitor rank average, which is again their organic ranks, the average of their organic ranks, it has to be less than 50. So you can just simply copy paste them. Sponsored rank count, you want to make sure that it's 60% of the total listings selected. So if you selected 10 listings, make sure that sponsored rank count is at least 6. Otherwise, you're going to get too many irrelevant keywords. Once downloaded, open the file and sort by search volume and delete all the irrelevant keywords. So let's say I'll do a quick exercise over here. I'm going to go in here and write cable management box, and we're going to do exactly what I'm mentioning over here. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to run X3. So this is a quick mini tutorial for you guys as well. Parent level revenue, right? And I am looking for cable management boxes. These are not cable management boxes in their true sense. These are more relevant products, right? So I'll pick this. This is relevant, right? So I'll pick this. The revenue is really high. Then I go in and I pick this. This is 91,000, so I'm going to pick this as well. This is Amazon's choice. So I'm going to just pick those 10 listings that I see where the revenue is like really high. The top 10 listings, because we're going to go back there and analyze those factors to make sure that we stay away from keywords that these sellers are really competitive on and go on keywords where they're leaving gaps, right? That is going to help us understand which keyword, if there's enough keywords in the niche where these top 10 sellers are leaving some gaps. right? So I have now selected 8, 9, 10, right? So Helium 10 is going to fetch data for it real quick. Let's see if we give it another go and this works out this time. All right, so it seems that we're in bad luck and Helium 10 is not fetching data right now. But I think we will, um, yeah. So I think I'll just jump straight to the file and show you guys. So this is as simple. You just use these filters on your top listings and you delete the irrelevant keywords. Now, once you delete the irrelevant keywords, you're going to end up with a file like this. Uh, Yeah. When you end up with a file like this with all your relevant keywords, so just take a look here. I have kept my analysis to the top to the top keywords, right? I have not gone in and analyzed too deep on keywords that are less than 1,000 in search volume, right? Because again, if I start analyzing these keywords, I'm going to just be analyzing keywords that do not have a lot of demand, and that's not going to really help me get great revenue. So I want to analyze keywords that have good demand. Now just take a look at these keywords. So the factors that we were going to analyze were this, this, and your individual ranks of competitors. So what I've done here is that we took out a few competitors. So this is a file that I'd gotten made a while ago. So the revenues have changed. It's been Q4 lately, but we take a list out of top 10 sellers, right? So let's say if your top 10 sellers look like this, you want to color by red the 3 sellers that you want to absolutely stay away from, right? So these are sellers that we do not want to be competing with simply because the revenue is so high that they can afford to spend a lot more, right? So this seller, even if he has a 10% tacos, he will be spending at least $12,000 a month, right? So we don't want to compete with these sellers directly. We want to be on keywords where they're leaving some room for us. These sellers, I mean, we could compete with them, but we do not want to be directly competing with them. I mean, we would prefer that we don't have to compete with them. And then these are sellers that we can feel more confident competing with. Their revenues are not that high. They're also probably not raising the CPCs. I mean, a $24,000 listing cannot spend more than $3,000, $4,000 a month if they want to make profit, right? So in that case, their spend is not going to be that high. They're not going to bid too aggressively. These sellers, they can go in and bid really aggressively. So keywords where they are more active could have more CPC. So we want to see if in this niche, when analyzing whether that niche is viable, do we have enough keywords where we could perhaps uh, get lower CPCs, right? And that is what we want to be taking a look at. So I go in over here and I see that on these keywords, I have, so these are those red listings that I want to stay away from. Absolutely. These are those yellow listings. I would prefer not competing with them, but I could, I mean, as long as I'm away from these dinosaur aggressive, really big listings. Now, I see that on some of these keywords, these listings are really occupying the top 5, right? So this is a keyword that I would have a hard time on, and naturally it's the biggest keyword. So I go in and I see that the remaining listings are not ranking in top 5. There's not enough gap there. Then I see this keyword, and I see that those top 3 listings, those dinosaur listings, they're leaving some good gap for me there. And one of those listings that I could compete with, but I would prefer not to, has great ranks there. This gives an idea to me that this is a keyword that these top 10 sellers is slightly concerning. So I saw a good gap there. Ranking is not going to be that tough, but the PPC is going to be expensive, right? So this keyword, I put that as yellow, which is my second preference. Cable organizer box, I see a similar pattern. The PPC, the sponsored rank average is really high. So 7 out of top 10 sellers are running PPC here, and their PPC is running really aggressively. But again, I see that I have ranking gaps here. So these are keywords that I could go on. So I'm going to make them yellow here. And then these two keywords, they're just really aggressive, right? Those top three, those dinosaur listings are really aggressive here. The PPC costs are really high. These two keywords I'm going to ignore. Now take a look at this keyword. The sponsored rank average is lower, right? And I see some ranking gap here. It's not that it's entirely occupied with this, but I do see that one of those listings is also ranking in top 5. Now, when I go in and I take a look at these keywords, what I'll see is that the pattern is not as encouraging. I only see 3 keywords where I can go in and be very confident that I can rank. So this is one keyword that I think that we can very confidently rank on. This is another keyword that we could perhaps be a bit more confident on, simply because it's not as aggressively done. But overall, if you take a look at these keywords, you will see that you won't find many gap keywords here, right? You want to have at least 40% of your keywords, 50% of your keywords giving you ranking and PPC gaps both, right? And a respectable ranking and PPC gap. If they're not giving you that, and this is a very manual form of analysis, but if you're doing one product launch, this is a great analysis to secure your investment and not enter a niche where the competition is too high, right? So purely on this, I see, right? So I have 3 keywords that I'm confident about, 1 keyword that I'm, 3, 4 keywords that I'm confident about, and then 3 keywords that I could go on, but I mean, they're 50-50. I'm not 100% certain about them. I'm not super confident about them. And then some keywords that are just totally off charts, right? Now, if I had a bigger list of keywords with more than 1,000 search volume, I might have been able to find more hiding space, right? I would have had more rooms to hide from Khabib, right? So this is the fifth and final factor that you want to take a look at, and this is going to give you an exact idea of if you have enough keywords that you can go in and have lower CPCs on, right? So these were things that were slightly less technical, but this one, you go in and you take a look, and you can then form a general opinion on whether this is a niche where you find enough gaps in terms of PPC, right? So yeah, these are the 5 factors that you want to be analyzing. Just to give you guys a quick update, so this is only for SellerUP Academy students. This is not for those who are not the students. We are offering a free keyword analysis similar to the files shown in this session. For SellerUP Academy students, the process for that is you drop me an email at team@sharkadvertising.net with the subject keyword analysis SellerUP and a link to your Amazon listing or a link to the main keyword in whatever niche you're planning to launch. And we will send you over with a keyword analysis file within 48 to 72 hours. For a 20% discount for the first month of a service, again, this is only for SellerUP Academy students. Fill out the contact form on our website with the code SellerUp20 in the message section. So this section of the contact form, please write SellerUp20 and you will have a 20% discount for the first month of a service. And yeah, there we go with the session. The floor is now open for questions, and feel free to ask any question that you guys have.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you Holaifa yang already help us, the SellerUP Academy students, and maybe there's outsiders too today. Thank you for coming. So before we're gonna have Q&A, maybe let's take a picture, Holaifa, because it's the first webinar of the year 2025. So maybe Firda, can you assist with that before we open up for Q&A? Yes.
Yes, we're going to have a Q&A, but before that, we're going to have photo session first. So please turn on your camera, show your beautiful and handsome faces. Yeah, this is our very first webinar, and then next week we're going to have another webinar. So stay tuned, yeah, guys. All right, so everyone's ready? All right, so I'm going to count until 3. All right, everyone's ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, one more, because we have lots of participants, so we are going to move to the next page here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Right, 1, 2, 3. Cheers. Very good. Thank you so much, everyone. So yes, we can have the Q&A session.
So those who want to have Q&A, maybe you can type it in the chat box, or maybe you can actually just open your audio microphone and you can ask Hulaifa directly, maybe using English. If those wants to ask in Bahasa Indonesia, I can actually help to translate too. All right. So any questions? We are opening up now. So actually there's one questions here, Hulaifa, in the chat sessions from Alphonse. I've observed one product. There are many same product was offered by many shop, maybe many sellers with sponsored status, but there is only one seller on Amazon offered that product without sponsored. How does the product prospect? Yeah, that's one of the questions from the floor.
Right. So just to clarify, they have a product that not a lot of people are selling on Amazon, but the sponsored spots are occupied. Is that what the question is?
I think it's from Alphonse. Can you see in the chat? I have observed one product.
Oh, right, yeah. There are many
Yeah.
same products offered by many shops with sponsored status, but there is only one shop on Amazon offer that product without sponsored. How does the product prospect? Right. So Alfonso, what you want to be taking a look at here is, so naturally in niches, it does not really matter if a lot of sellers are running PPC or not running PPC, right? What matters more is what are your top sellers or your top competitors doing with your PPC? Because over the longer run, it's the top competition that really raises the PPC cost, right? A random listing with $4,000 revenue is going to have some auto campaign that's going to show it here and there. So the sponsored spots, Amazon is going to fill them up naturally. But if you see that those top revenue listings that are showing in those top PPC spots and they're all over the SCRP, that is a bit of an alarming situation, because then it means that your top competitors are really aggressive with their PPC, and you're going to have to compete directly with them. So that is what I would focus on. As long as I can find enough keywords where my top competition is not really aggressive with the PPC, or they're leaving some ranking gaps. It's like me being able to hide from Khabib and Khabib not being able to find that room. You can still go into that. You can still go on that keyword and be able to rank without incurring much of a cost. Hassan says, I want to rank my product and lower my tacos, that is right now 12%. What to do? Main keyword is short and my conversion rate is also low on the specific keyword. Now Hassan, tacos, at 12% tacos is already pretty healthy, right? I mean, lowering it further could actually hurt your ranks. What I would probably focus on that is, at 12% tacos, I assume that you're already making profits. I would perhaps sit down for 1 month, take a look at my profits, and reinvest that into really improving my conversion rate. Because if your conversion rate is a problem and you can really improve your conversion rate, that is naturally going to bring your tacos down. It's going to bring your tacos down because a better conversion rate means you need less clicks to convert. Less clicks to convert means that you will have a better ACOS, and a better ACOS means that your tacos will come down naturally. So I would probably reinvest some of my profits into having really high quality creatives if you already have 12% tacos. And once you have a better conversion rate, you're also going to have a better shot at ranking your main keywords as well. How frequently should PPC campaigns be optimized, and what specific optimizations are typically performed weekly and monthly? So generally for a launch, you do not want to be super slow with your optimizations. You generally want to be optimizing at least twice a week. Once your launch starts settling in and you start finding your sweet spot with PPC, you could perhaps lower the frequency down to once a week and let the data accumulate. But early on, you want to be optimizing twice a week. But then even during that optimization, do not optimize just for the sake of optimization. Make sure that if you're optimizing, you're actually optimizing things that are broken. Do not try to fix something that is not broken. If you have a keyword that's running at a good ACOS, it's ranking you, do not try to optimize it too much. Let the ranks come first, and then you can sit down and optimize. So early on, you just want to make sure you're optimizing what's broken, right? Do not optimize just for the sake of optimization. Yeah. Right. Abdullah asked, what is your opinion on running SPV campaigns on organically ranked keyword as it cannibalizes the organic sales? This is a high level question. In ranking phase, can we run SPV campaigns? Does it drive the organic rank? So Abdullah, this is an experiment that I run almost every single year. And one conclusion that I come to every single time is that sponsored brand video ads do not have as big an impact on organic ranks as sponsored product ads. Simply because for Amazon, the sponsored product is a much closer proof of performance that this listing will do better when ranked. So I wouldn't have more than 20% of my total budget in video ads. And once ranked, maybe you could You could expand your video ads on keywords that you're already not ranked on. It's going to help you with some brand presence there. But even then, if there's any keyword that you think that you just can't rank on, you've tried everything and that keyword just doesn't rank, and you've given up on ranking, let's say 2 out of 10 keywords because they're too competitive, you could see if video ads are less competitive and you could steal a few sales there. But all in all, I wouldn't have more than 20% of my budget in video ads simply because the ranking impact is much less noticeable than sponsored products. If a competitor is not running PPC heavily but getting good sales, how can we spy it? I mean, one direct way to spy it really is you run a reverse ASIN. And the only other way to spy on them is having access to their ad console, but that's unfortunately not possible. So the only access that you have is when you're analyzing a niche from the outside and you're planning to launch there, is you run a reverse ASIN and you take a look at the sponsored rank data, because the sponsored rank data is Helium 10 pulling out where the PPC is showing on that keyword, which number is it showing on. If the sponsored rank average is 6, it means that someone is running it on 4 and 2 and 8 and 10 and 12, and the average is 6, right? Which means it's very competitive. But 20, they're not running it very aggressively. Is there a way to find out the exact bids your competitors are placing on their keywords? There is no way to find out the exact bids, but once you've been in the niche, you do get a general idea what the CPCs are like, but you can't exactly find out what the exact bids are. What you can find out is, right, so this is what I'm getting as a CPC. How can I improve it? One way to improve that is taking a look at your placement data and just improving your conversion rate over time. Does this session also qualify on analyzing niche market share potential and how much we can capture? For that, you would have to go a bit more technically. You would have to take a look at product opportunity explorer and stuff. But this session would mainly give you a much stronger idea of the PPC competition in the niche and whether you can run profitable PPC in that niche, because that's a very major factor. A lot of launches fail because people launch a great product, but it's just that the marketing cost is so high that it's just not viable, right? You have a product that converts great, but it's just really competitive. For example, supplements, right? You have competitors who are not bidding for one sale, they're bidding for the third repeat purchase, right? So their CPCs are so high that you have a $10, $20 product and the CPC is $8, right? My question is, what is the future of Amazon in the coming 5 years? Is it remain as effective and useful for all Amazon sellers? As we can see, the Amazon policies for sellers are getting strict, and it looks hard for new sellers to launch a brand, especially in USA. One thing that I can predict is that even in the next 5 years, people will keep launching products, people will keep building brands, and products will keep being successful. The great products will eventually, over the long run, rise to the top. Maybe not instantly, like it 2018-20, you could launch a product and it would instantly rank in like 1 month, 2 weeks. Now it takes a bit more effort there. So, I mean, it's going to perhaps get tougher, but great products over the long run will always end up winning. Amazon, I think, is still a platform that is in many ways much easier than launching a product outside the marketplace from scratch, especially. How to increase the search volume of a branded keywords? This is a question that's, I mean, how to increase the search volume of a branded keyword? That comes once you've already really dominated a niche. I mean, once you've really dominated a niche and you're running really good external ads outside Amazon as well, you're going on macro niche keywords such as you launch a barbecue product and then you go on barbecue accessories, like a bigger keyword like that. That starts bringing on search volume, but I don't think this is super relevant to the topic that we have today. What PPC strategy would you suggest for premium brand where my pricing is around 72 USD? Whereas my competitor selling price is around 9 to 20 USD. Every part is fully optimized, imaging, but PPC conversion is right. So generally, Wasif, the question that you have is, now if you have a product that is priced much higher than your competition, your PPC strategy is going to really switch, right? So you can't go on top of search and be as confident because people are not going to impulsively buy your product. Top of search has a lot of impulse customers, which is why the conversion rate there is also high. So if you have a product that is priced much higher than your competition, you go in there and you do have a product that justifies the price, they would still want to do some research before they go from buying $10 item to $70 item. So you would want to stay more on rest research. You would want to rely more on ASIN targeting ads, run a few video ads here and there. But I would definitely try to stay away from top of search. But then again, keep 10 to 15% of your budget that keeps testing new settings, because you never know, you might end up finding a setting that is really great for your product, and then you can scale that across the rest of your campaigns as well. How do you do bid optimization for discovery campaigns? Yeah, so discovery campaigns, those really low bid campaigns, I am not a big fan of doing bid optimizations there because it shows that the bids are already so low. A discovery campaign is going to have a 60 cent bid, a 70 cents bid, right? And if it's doing the job, I would not go in and do massive optimization. One way that I would still do bid optimization if I really have to is I would take a look at the placement data and I see if, let's say, top of search is performing better or rest of search is performing better. I would take a look at which placement is performing better and I would optimize my bids in the direction of the best performing placement, right? So optimize your bids towards the best placement, the best performing placement. So yeah, back to the previous question again, I wouldn't just by default increase or reduce bids. I would reduce bids based on data or increase bids based on data. How do you see keyword with higher density? Does high title density? I mean, high title density has been an important factor on Amazon for the longest time. But if you guys have been following the updates, Amazon has recently announced an update where you can't have a word in your title more than twice. So I think that's going to massively switch up the whole title density game. I actually used to analyze title density back in the day on when analyzing how easy it is to rank in a niche, but I think that's going to massively change. And yeah, that is something that is still in research by a lot of people. What campaign structure follow for ranking campaigns? Single keyword campaigns, and using the right match type for that keyword. A lot of times it's exact, but a lot of times it can be broad as well, right? So gone are the days where you would only go in and run exact. Sometimes if a niche is too competitive and you've naturally landed in a niche that's too competitive, you're launching 5 campaigns, run 3 in exact, run 2 in broad just to see if broad is performing better, and you might be met with a surprise. And then you want to see which is working better, and you want to have all your campaigns around that. But single keyword campaigns all the way. Do not stuff your campaigns. What campaign structure follow for? Yeah, so again, even outside ranking campaigns, I'm not a big fan of having more than 3 to 5 keywords in a campaign unless you're running a very big account. Unless you have a lot of products, a lot of keywords. I would not go above 3 to 5 keywords in a campaign. But if you're going for ranking, do not even go up to 3 or 5. Just keep it at one single keyword all the way. For an exact match, the suggested bid is $0.83 and the CPC is $0.71. Generally, what should your bid be? Now that depends, Charles, what your goal exactly is. So if you're trying to rank and the suggested bid is 0.83, your CPC will probably have to be around $1 or 90 cents or something like that, right? If you're really trying to rank, because when you do want to rank, you want to go slightly aggressive, slightly aggressive. And if you have the budget for it, even more aggressive. And that generally doesn't hurt because as you raise your bids and you go on better placements, your conversion rate also goes up. So if you have a 50 cent CPC, but you're converting 10% at rest of search, it's still going to cost you the same as if you have a $1 CPC at top of search, but you're converting at 20%, right? You're converting twice as good. So 5 clicks at $1 is the same as 10 clicks at 50 cents, right? So as you go more aggressive, your conversion rate also improves because you're getting to those more higher quality, those higher intent, those impulsive customers who make purchases quickly, who convert quicker. Analyze before optimizing your bid. Hassan, one thing that I do really take a look at is that plays a major role in how I go about my optimizations is placement data. So a general, really solid idea of what the placement data is across your account can really optimize your thought process around your bid changes and bid optimizations. What about Rufus and Hall that Amazon introduced last year? Isn't they making PPC hard to be effective? I haven't seen a really direct impact of Rufus and Hall on PPC as of yet. But I mean that is somewhat linked to conversion rates, which is linked to PPC. But in terms of pure PPC performance and the PPC competitiveness of a niche, I haven't seen Rufus have a direct impact on that. Tell us how to select keyword at launch phase. Again, Ahmed, the same file that I had opened earlier. Once you analyze if you have enough gap keywords, once you go in a niche and you launch a product, same sort of analysis, you can get an idea which keywords are those gap keywords that you want to start with, right? So I would probably start with these 4, and then these are going to be, if one of these 4 don't work, I would go on one of these yellow keywords and see if they work better, right? Obviously keeping in mind the budget. Oh, there's a lot of questions today, which is nice to see, which shows that everyone was listening to the session closely. Yeah. A keyword CTR CBR is up to the mark, but due to high bid, it's bleeding and causing high ACOS, and we are ranked in top 10. lowering PPC cause ranking drop, then how can we make it profitable? Yeah, one thing that I would take a look at is, are you still at your best placement? So I would, if your CVR is high, uh, that that means that you are going on top of search. So one thing that I would make sure is that I'm showing on top of search as much as I can, that I'm giving it enough budget. So if you're at top 10, try to get the ranks just slightly higher. See if you can somehow get it pushed to 6, 7. If not, this is slightly high level, but you can simply have a budget optimization structure there, where you, let's say, if you're running ads at $20 a day, you lower it down to $15 and see if your ranks, if you can maintain your ranks at $15 a day, right? So it took you $20 to get into top 10. It should not take you $20 to maintain that. Maintaining that should require 20-25% less budget. So you go down to $15 and see if the ranks go down, right? The ranks didn't go down. You lower it even further slightly, the budgets, right? You go it down to $12 on that keyword. If the ranks go down now, it means the $12 was too low. So you get it back to $20. You get the ranks back, and this time you don't lower it to 12, but you lower it to 15, right? So you find that sweet spot of your budget where you can maintain those ranks, and you launch a few maintenance campaigns on the side that supplement your previous campaigns and kind of maintaining those ranks at a lower ACOS. So these are going to be more ACOS profitability focused campaigns and ranking campaigns. And these are generally, in combination with budget optimized ranking campaigns, can really help you maintain your ranks across the niche. For ranking campaigns, what do you think? Should we add a very low bid, then go with 100% or 150% placement to top search? I'm not a big fan of that approach. I know people who do that, but I generally like having a healthy base bid simply because I've seen that it does give me better visibility. So I like having a healthy base bid and then a really healthy placement modifier. But I'm not a big fan of a really low base bid like 10, 20, 30 cents. That will often really constrict your visibility. For single keyword campaigns, ranking campaigns, do you suggest to have higher top of search placement compared to 100%? Especially if you're launching low to medium ticket items, top of search, and this is backed by data across many agencies and many firms as well, and many trainings as well. Top of search across the general account size, across mass, does have much better conversion rate than other placements. So yes, 100%. How can we set goals to achieve our goal, and what should be your goals in Amazon advertising? Right. So the first goal that you want to set when you launch a product is obviously that you want to rank. And when you're trying to rank, you want to make sure that your ACOS is not too much higher than 70-80%, right? Because once you go above that, just recovering those costs can be really tough. So that's the first goal. The second goal is that you want to find the lowest spend on each keyword that can let you maintain the ranks that you got earlier. As long as you can keep doing that across more and more and more keywords, you're going to keep making money. With budget optimization for ranking campaigns, do you maintain the same bids? Yeah, initially, if it's doing the job, the ACOS isn't so bad. The ranking ACOS is like 40, 45, 50%. It's not so bad. And I had a $20 budget. I do not have a problem going down to $15 budget because it's still saving me money, right? So if I can do that across enough keywords, that I can do that across 4 keywords at $20 in daily budget saved, which is $600 in monthly profit added, right? So initially, yes, because if you're making 2 changes at one time, you won't be able to understand if your budget was too low or if your bid optimization went wrong. But yeah, that's my consensus on that. What do you advise to one who's new to PPC? Should he learn and proceed in it for the long term? Yes. Hello, I just wondering, Septian has a question. I usually set one exact keyword campaign and set the bid decrease 20% suggested bid and increase top of search bid adjustment to 400%. So for example, I run bid 0.80, top of search bid 400%, and last month I get about 19. Any other idea to optimize it? Septian, I think your settings are really good. I think your ACOS is really good. I would not try to optimize it even further down. If your ACOS is 19%, that is really good. And I think your setting looks fine as well. So I would probably try to see if I can replicate this sort of performance across more keywords. And if not more keywords, then this means that this niche is really good for you. I would see if I could perhaps go in and launch another item in this niche, another variation in this niche, or perhaps another parent listing in this niche, and occupy more of that SCRP, occupy more space on those keywords. So yeah, if you're out of keywords and you see that the niche is not that competitive, I would definitely look at expanding there, but seems like you're doing a good job. Does PP placements help in driving organic ranks? Yes, it does. But top of search and rest of search definitely have a much more noticeable impact. But yes, generally, if you have sponsored products campaign running, they will get you ranks up. Last question.
Huzaifa,
If
I'm
there are
so
two,
sorry to interrupt. Oh, this
yeah,
is going to be last question. Is it?
yeah,
All
this is
right,
the
sure,
last
sure,
question.
because we are out of time. So
Yeah.
yes, okay, we can go
Yeah,
for the last question.
there were a lot of questions today, but yeah, if there are
I know, right?
two keywords having same relevancy, how to select any one of them in launch phase, and how to check competition, and don't go rocket. Yeah, so one way to do that is testing beats over analysis 90% of the time. If you see that the stats are very similar, go ahead and test both of them at a low budget, and see over 4, 5, 6 days which one of them has a better ecos. And just if you're tight on budget, just proceed with the one that has better ecos and give it better budget. So yeah. All right. I think we're done with the questions and pretty active session.
Okay, so maybe you can let everybody see the code again, Hulaifa. Maybe those who want still ask you for the help for the checking the keywords, yeah, especially for SellerUP Academy community, you can get free keywords through Shark advertising. But then if you want to get or use their services, they'll give us 20% for SellerUP students. So maybe Hulaifa, can you show them the last page again so that they can capture? Yes, this one, everybody. So maybe you can drop them an email for keywords analysis. It's free. Or you can use their service. It's 20% discount for the first month of Shark advertising services. All right. Thank you, Hulaifa, for your time, and everybody who keen to learn from SellerUp Academy. So I'll see you in our next webinar.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having me.
Hulaifa.
Thank you so
Bye.
much,
Likewise.
Hulaifa. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Yeah, so the video will be recorded and then uploaded on our YouTube channel, SellerUP Academy. So stay tuned. We are going to upload it there in case you need the recording. All right. Thank you.